The silence is quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we would take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
Good afternoon. You're tuned into Ability Matters, the program that covers matters to do with abilities, disabilities and everything in between. We are one of the longest running disability-related shows in the world, starting as Headway On Air all the way back in 2007 and now brought to you by My Home Living Care, an NDIS registered disability support organisation.
Yes, that's right, Sean. Yes, good afternoon. You're listening to Ability Matters on the Illawarra's favourite community radio station, 106.9 VOX FM. First of all, I'm your host, Tony Sconiamilio, and with me as per normal is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Bec and I'm from Flagstaff.
Lovely, thank you, Bec. And who do we have with us today?
Today we have Odin with us, and he's going to have a little bit of a chat about all the different things that he's come across since his injury and his accident. So
his situation, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we start off the day with maybe a song?
Yeah, sounds great.
Right, well, the time is a couple minutes past the lunch hour, a couple minutes past 12 o'clock. So I'm going to open up today's show with a song from the 50s, 1957 to be precise, Perry Como, Magic Moments. Yeah. Yes, as I've already said, that was Perry Como with Magic Moments from 1957. And now we're just going to jump straight into the interview with Bec and Odin. Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot.
No, that's
You're
okay.
all right.
Yeah.
You're all right.
It's an uncommon name, but it's more common with, Viking mythology.
If you think of Thor, that's his father.
That's
isn't
only
it?
all over the movies, yeah. But Odin, that's a very, it's more, I suppose, Viking sounding sort of name, yeah.
Northern
Nordic,
Europe,
yes, that's
yeah.
true, yes.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you for coming on today, Odin. I really do appreciate having a chat with us.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. We have someone in common, Tony, who said that he'd put me in contact with you, and you jumped and contacted me, and you've been very, very kind and appreciative, and I really appreciate being invited on.
That's okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Just a microphone reshuffle there. I'm happy to have you along, and I want people to hear a little bit more about your story and things that can happen just from a single little thing that you don't think much of.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tell us about what the condition is that's classified as now? They actually have, because you've got a long list from
I do.
what I heard.
The main one that stands out at the moment is failed back syndrome, and that's occurred because of an initial injury in the workplace.
Say that again, sorry. Failed back?
Failed back syndrome.
Failed back, isn't like your back has failed?
Yeah. So we've had multiple surgeries to intervene the original injury itself, but unfortunately it's all cascaded into one big thing. So you see that, there are often complications with surgery. However, this has been complication after complication. Some of it is doctor error. Some of it is just, unfortunately, it's happened. And I can't do anything about it.
I was supposed to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I suppose that's how we'll lead into how it actually came about, what your actual injury was in the first place.
So my wife and I, we both used to be nurses. That's been given up now for a few years. I was a registered nurse at a very big trauma hospital in Sydney, and I was just doing a very basic thing of cleaning the bed. Now, I did everything right. I raised the bed to the right height, did everything that I was supposed to do. I outstretched with my left hand, and unfortunately, I felt immense pain, instantly, immense pain. My knees dropped. I grabbed hold of the bed, and that was it. Game over. It was very, very like very painful. I thought
from a simple movement.
I thought like originally it was just going to be a pulled muscle, and so I wasn't going to do what is called an IMS, which is an incident management form that you put in to make sure that you are covered if you're hurt. I wasn't going to do that. My wife is much smarter than I am, and I messaged her and I let her know, something. I'm a bit sore. Like I'm really sore, and she said, make sure you put in an IMS. Don't leave without putting in an IMS. So I sat down. It took me about a good 10 minutes to get it done. At this point, I've already let everyone know that I've been injured, but I haven't been taken off the floor. So I'm there and filling in the incident management form. And thank God I did, because afterwards my wife came to pick me up from work. I went to sit in the passenger seat. I couldn't lift my feet up off the ground to get into the car. I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
My wife jumped out, came around to the passenger side, picked up my legs, swung me in. I did not want to be seen at the hospital that I worked at. One, basically because you don't want your medical history spread around your colleagues, and I can assure you that nurses are gossips.
They're making jokes and bit of snide comments here and there.
Yeah.
And the whispers in the corridor.
Oh, yeah. So we went to a satellite hospital that's connected to that hospital. They unfortunately don't have an MRI on hand, so I had a basic CT. There was very little that could be seen on the CT. So I just got sent home with some painkillers. And the very next day, I had to do some travelling, and I was in immense pain with that. So my wife took me to another hospital afterwards that did have an MRI. They unfortunately didn't do an MRI. They said, we're in agreement with Hospital B.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's probably just a pulled muscle, go home. I went home.
Cover their backsides.
Yeah. I went home. It was about 4 days later. I had a friend from work over, and my wife at the time, and I was like laying on my side on the lounge, and my wife's gone to pick me up, and as she's done that, I felt bone on bone rubbing in my back.
Oh.
Like, it's the sort of thing, like for me, that feeling, I felt
Is that like
I was going
nails
to
on a chalkboard kind of thing?
Yes, very much so, very much so.
That's the only thing I could think about.
It's exactly right, exactly that. What you just did there, the shiver, that's how I felt. Like, was it? Yes. That feeling, I just felt absolutely disgusted. So my wife took me back to the satellite hospital, where they admitted me for pain management. I ended up getting sent to my hospital for an MRI, and then they came back and saw that I had an L4, L5 disc protrusion with an annular tear, so the spinal cord casing, and there was bruising in and around the spinal cord.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because it had been left for those days, there was blockage to the nerves, and there was nerve death around the spinal cord as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we thought, like, I obviously went on, like, leave for that, and I saw a bunch of doctors. Unfortunately, it's all covered by workers' compensation, so you have to go and see the doctors that they want you to see.
Oh.
And I ended up seeing another doctor who suggested doing an anterior arthroplasty. So they were going to go in through the front here. So for the listeners at home who can't see, from the top of my sternum down to beneath my belly button, push everything to the side, and we were going to have a vascular surgeon there just in case anything popped.
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah. So that vascular surgeon, very lucky that he was there. Nothing happened, but if it had a popped, we were warned prior that if something pops, there's a 60% chance that you don't come off the table.
Oh.
However,
that's not good odds.
Yeah, the reason that we opted for the anterior arthroplasty is because there's a much higher chance of returning to work faster. And I just wanted to return to work.
Get back to the money. Yeah.
So we did that. However, now I was forewarned not to swear, so I'm not going to swear. But
some colourful words.
Yeah, my wife and I knew the doctor. I had worked with him previously on the trauma ward. He walked out and said to my wife immediately, I have F-worded it. And that was because the disc that he had put in was about 2 sizes too small and in the wrong position.
Oh,
yeah.
How can you get that wrong? I just don't know.
So
he's getting paid the big dollars.
Yeah. So where it's
Scary.
been inserted, it's too far to the back and too far to the left. So it causes a very open effect at the moment. which is causing a scoliosis effect because there's so much empty space in there. That cause an immense amount of pain because it's also like pulling and touching on the spinal cord, and it overhangs off the back of the vertebrae. Yeah, it's been a painful journey.
It sounds like that, you just had one bodge up after the other, which wouldn't give you much faith in the hospital system.
One word to describe the situation: lucky.
Mm.
With immense sarcasm there, of course, but yeah.
Well, yeah, some people would maybe think they're lucky, but then there's luck and it's like help and help. There's luck and luck.
Yes.
Well, I am a little bit lucky because, let's be honest, out of all the budge ups that could have happened on the table, I could have maybe not come off the table. So I'm very lucky.
What were the chances of that? It was like 1 in a million or something like that, wasn't it? So that makes
I don't know the odds. I don't.
Maybe
but
the same odds of winning the lottery, yeah?
If I won the lottery, oh my God.
Exactly.
About 6 months later after that, because I was still having extreme pain, I was put in for an ablation where they cut the nerves in my back from L3 down to S1. That didn't do anything, but it came with its own set of challenges afterwards.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
I started having a right foot drop after that, so my slips, trips and falls increased greatly.
Oh.
And then about a year after that, in January of 2020, I had an L4 to L5 fusion. But I was told before the fusion that they would most likely take the disc out because that's what's causing the problems. So I wake up and we wanted to get out of the hospital as quick as possible, mostly because if everyone remembers in January 2020, there was all these alerts of there's an unknown respiratory virus popping up in China, and we're sitting there just a few days before Chinese New Year. So we knew everyone would be flying abroad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm at a hospital that's very close to Sydney Airport, and I'm like, maybe I just want to go home. Like, I want to go home. I don't want to get sick. Like, let's just go home.
We'll skip that bomb right there. Well, bomb, that situation, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Avoid it, yes.
Yeah. After that, I went home. I was still having extreme pain. I went back to the hospital where they did another scan, and I'll follow that up for you in just a moment.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what,
talk
though.
about that or
Let's just try and break that up a little bit. It's very interesting so far, but that's what I've got a song I think is very fitting so far for what you just talked about that. Because you're certainly making me a jealous guy. Well, here's the song now. John Lennon's Jealous Guy from 1971 from his eponymous album, Imagine. We all know that song, don't we? Well, here's another one from it, the same year, Jealous Guy. And yes, we're back into it, sorry. So, yes, that was just Jealous Guy by John Lennon from his album Imagine, 1971. Now get back into the interview with Bec and Odin. Go for it, guys.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for that great song too. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
It's such an intriguing story. I'm probably going to let you talk for the whole program.
It's okay.
It's just amazing to me that something that comes from such a small thing can have such a snowball effect.
Yeah. So where we left listeners were, I had just left the private hospital after the spinal fusion. I was still having an extreme amount of pain, so I presented to my local hospital. At that point, I had left Sydney and moved down to the Illawarra. I have then checked into our local hospital, which is Wollongong Hospital, and they did an MRI. And found that, sorry, we're just doing some readjustments here. Thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the listeners at home. We're just readjusting the microphone just because I'm just in a bit of an awkward position with my back.
For reasons as we all heard, that.
Yeah.
Failed back.
We did an MRI, which was a surprise to us that we found out that the disc was not removed, that they had fused around the disc itself and had left it in there. So now it's permanently in there and it's never coming out.
Oh,
yeah.
How can they get that wrong?
That's generally what fusion means.
Mm.
It's one of those forever kind of things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of people that have had their neck fused and things like that and they can't turn.
Yeah.
So I can imagine it would be a similar thing with your back.
Yeah.
There's only a certain range of movement.
Yeah, unfortunately, they also fused the side that the disc is on, which is the far left-hand side, which has then resulted in, that's when I mentioned earlier that scoliosis effect, where my back is now falling into that empty cavity space and I'm leaning more to the right. The screws in the fusion have fractured. They've got a hairline fracture, but L4. And essentially we are just waiting for L4 to break down at this point.
No.
It's just going to be not a matter of if, but when.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And with the continuous pain, it's been a few years, but I went and saw a pain specialist here in the Illawarra. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name them, but they are absolutely incredible.
You can name who it is, but you can't mention any
Can't
products or
say
anything
go and
like
see
that.
him for so much an hour.
You
You
can't
can
just
just
prove-
you can
yeah.
say
You
who
can
he
name
is.
All right. Dr. Michael Davies in Wollongong, he's a pain specialist and he's spinal surgeon, everything. Like, he's absolutely incredible. This man has changed my life. Like, it feels worth living now.
Well, it's justified then. You can mention him because he deserves the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I
Good job.
saw him just before Christmas and I could not thank him enough for what he's done. I got him, he put in a spinal cord stimulator for me.
Okay.
Now, it hasn't really helped with the pain in the back, but the associated pain in the legs, the buttocks, everything like that is gone. That's gone.
Oh, that's good.
So
Yeah.
the majority of the pain is, as you said,
everywhere except for the back, gone. Like,
Oh, so you haven't got the residual flow-on effects from
So
the
the-
back to
not
other places.
in the buttocks or the legs
so the
anymore.
associated pain has effectively disappeared, yes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, this guy changed my life. Like, I don't know the words. I wish I was a poet to describe this man. Really has changed life for the better. And if anyone out there, is having associated back problems or pain, look into a spinal cord stimulator.
Yeah.
Like, it does change your life.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Spinal cord stimulator.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. I had never thought of one previously. Like, it had been mentioned to me, but at the same time, I had so many failed surgeries, I didn't know if I wanted to go in for another surgery.
You'd be reluctant to put yourself in that position again.
Every time waking up from surgery and being in utter pain and thinking, I don't want to do this next. Like, I don't want to do it.
Totally understand, yeah.
So we did a spinal cord trial, changed my life. Put in another one, changed my life for the better. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, it's so good to hear that you're kind of getting it after so many bod jobs.
Yeah.
It's starting to turn around a bit where it's actually starting to improve.
Yeah, well, we are very fortunate. Like, he's a very busy doctor. He's got offices in Campbelltown, Wollongong, I think Nowra as well. But
Oh, wow.
really,
It's in demand.
I cannot thank him enough.
Must be good at what he does.
Oh, he's incredible. So that's basically been my surgical journey. But because of the initial injuries, with everything that's concaved and compacted,
Well, before we
I've
go
got
any
failed
further,
back syndrome.
Since you just mentioned spinal cord stimulator, I just did a quick little Google search, as we always do. Now, the quick little things, the quick line of advice it's thrown back to me was the spinal cord, yes, on average, about half the people see more than a 50% improvement in their pain after using a spinal cord stimulator, actually. From the success rate, sorry. So there we go.
Yeah.
So it seems like you weren't just talking turkey over there.
No, it really is beneficial. Like, if you've got back pain, look into it.
I'll ask you my next question, if that's okay, Odin. Just because we talked about it while the music was going, and I'd love to have you share that with people.
Off air, yeah. Go for it.
Are there many challenges for you? Like, I know initially there was a few, so
Yeah.
if you want to talk about things like that?
To start, the pain was an initial challenge. Like, how do I overcome that? And
How do I deal with it?
how do I deal with it? And every doctor, because it's a fresh injury, wants to give you opioids. They're a great short-term solution, but long-term, it can cause a lot of issues. Like, as I mentioned, I used to be a registered nurse.
Yes.
I used to work in trauma and emergency.
So just to be clear for the listeners, an opioid is something more along the lines of saying something like,
So morphine-based
Yes, that's
medications
morphine.
like codeine,
Yes.
OxyContin, stuff like that. They're, as I mentioned, great short-term. Long-term, they can cause some issues. And one of the long-term effects with me is that they don't help your pain anymore. In fact, they make the pain hypersensitive.
Because your body builds up a resistance
Yeah.
or a tolerance to it? Yes.
Yeah, and your pain is, hypersensitive when you're on them, when you've been on them for too long. So then you end up wanting to take more. That's when your issues start. I think it's about, I'm not sure if you can Google it, but I think it's about 250 hours of continuous use on an opioid, and you're pretty much hooked after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I will do that. What did you just say?
About 250 hours
What's this
of
for?
continuous use of an opioid, and they've basically got you hooked for a bit, or it at least increases your chances a great deal of having issues with addiction.
Having problems to get off it, yeah.
Yeah. However, I wasn't off it. I had been on it for a long time, and this is after surgeries 1 and 2, the arthroplasty and the ablation. I had sunk so low. I was in so much pain. I hadn't slept for about 3 days at this point. We were living down in Wollongong and close to Lake Illawarra, and I woke up and I went for a walk. I was low. I had had depression for a few months now. I had lost my job. I couldn't return to work. I couldn't drive at that point. I was having back spasms. I was in continuous pain. Dog that my wife got me to get up and walking and everything like that, she had also passed away.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was very low.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And thank you for being able to share this with us, because they are hard things to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I just did a quick little Google search, like as you mentioned earlier, and in terms of continuous use of the opioids, as you said, well, according to Google, as we all know, episodes that last longer than 90 days or 120, it's considered continuous use. So there you go.
Yeah. So I that morning, I as I mentioned, I hadn't slept for about 2-3 days. I was in immense pain on a great deal of opioids. I got up and I went for a walk. I went down to the lake, and at that point I didn't think I was coming back. I had intentions to, look, trigger warning for people at home, but I was going to
Call it.
Jump in the water?
check myself out.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. A very polite way, yes.
I went for a walk down to the lake. If people are familiar, there's these little huts there and a barbecue. And I took off my jacket and my wallet and my phone and put it all together. And I walked towards the lake. And funnily enough, it was low tide. It was low tide. I couldn't drown a squirrel, if that was the
You could
case.
try, but...
And I giggled at that point. Like, I was like, oh my God.
You
like,
laughed at yourself.
I'd been awake for 3 days. Like, I didn't even check to see what the tide was. Like, I had no idea. And so I went home and I told my wife everything, like what I'd been going through. And it's hard at that point, because you don't want to tell the people that you're closest to what you're going through, especially as a man.
Well, it's hard to be vulnerable.
Yeah, it is. And it's hard to let them know that I'm not doing too good.
Yeah.
But I broke down and I told my wife everything. And to the listeners that are out there that don't know my wife, know how lucky I am. Like, she has been not just my rock, she's been my everything. I would not be alive without her. It's just simple fact.
And from what I've heard in our conversation, she sounds like a wonderful woman.
She's absolutely incredible.
Driver, yeah.
Yeah, she got me in to see other pain specialists. We started to taper down the medications and eventually came off them for a bit, and got to see a psychologist and everything like that, and started getting some help there. She really helped me out. Really helped me out.
Anyway, on that note, then I think we'll get right back to it after we play some quick little advertisements, and then I'll play this song for you. It's a Chris Rea song called "Fool If You Think It's Over" from 1978, from the album Whatever Happened to Benny Sattini. I think it's a very fitting song for what you were just talking about then. Yes, that was just Chris Rea, "Fool If You Think It's Over," from the album Whatever Happened to Benny Santini. Sorry, not Santa Clarita. Yeah, sorry. I'm shaking my head and laughing at myself now, and Becky's too, so yeah. Yeah, this is what you get from behind the scenes. It's like, you can't see me with the cameras and everything, but yeah, so let's get back to it. We got Bec and Odin.
I'm actually laughing. I'm sorry. My voice goes bad. When I moved...
Was it with me or at me or whatever?
No, when I moved the microphone, it made a noise.
Oh, okay. So it was like an off-scene sort of...
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Whoopsie. Okay, no worries.
Sorry,
Yes, obviously this is still Tony Scott in the chair and Bec on the other side there with Odin in the interview.
Sorry about that. I had to compose myself.
Hey, you have pride. You don't mind admitting to a little bit of natural fault. Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's all good because I don't think anyone... Well, I don't know. I didn't hear it, so... And I have the headphones on and everything.
Oh, well, okay. He heard it.
Oh, it was not a secret? Okay, don't worry. It's definitely not a secret now over the air, so don't worry.
Sorry.
Get back to it. Go for it, guys.
Okay, so my next question for you, Odin, I know that it's amazing that you've shared all this information with us because I just don't think many people are that honest and open with their stories. I just wanted to know, what does an average day look like for Odin? What do you have to go through on a daily basis?
So, daily basis, it even begins before I wake up. My wife and I have 2 small children. They're absolutely fantastic. 3 and 2. My son's birthday was just on Christmas Eve. He's got an unfortunate birthday, but we try and celebrate it. As you can imagine, they run around like crazy. Before they arrive, it was I wake up and my wife can help me get straight up out of bed, into the shower. We have a shower chair, everything like that. Now with them, I can wake up and if the kids are carrying on or when I say carrying on, I mean like playing and stuff like that, not that they're bad kids, they're absolutely fantastic kids.
Just being kids, yeah?
Yeah. It's a wait and see. Like I have to wait for my wife and sometimes I could be in bed for an hour and a half to 2 hours before she can help me.
Just the situation, yes.
Yeah. I've got stuff around the bed to help me, like bed rail. I've got a knot at the, like, rope on the bed that I can help sit myself up.
Okay, yeah. Like a pulley thing.
But just because of the length of our bed and stuff like that, it's a bit difficult. Yeah.
Not ideal.
No. And showering, that's when I need help from my wife the most, and, like, getting dried and dressed. And, you know, sometimes it's embarrassing to talk about this sometimes, but there's people out there that are going through it and just know that you're not alone. Like, then I have to see my GP weekly to, one, just get a checkup and see how things are going, get my medications for the week, and then because I'm on workers' compensation, every couple of months we have to fill in our fit for work form still.
Yeah, dialogue, yes.
Yeah, and again, I have a fantastic GP as well. This GP is the first GP that's ever listened to me. A lot of GPs would just, they'd write a script for stuff that you don't want.
Just say
and
yes,
send you
no,
home.
I agree.
Yep.
Right. And as they're saying yes, no, I agree, you can hear the scrubbing of the pencil, of the pen on the paper.
Yeah. So
no heart in it at all.
Their name is Dr. Lena Salim Al-Saidi. She is fantastic. If you are out there having issues and you feel like no one's listening to you, medical-wise, please reach out and go and see her. She's the first doctor, first GP that I've met and said, you know what, we need to start at the start and see what's going on. Like I've had more X-rays, scans, everything. Like, she takes it seriously. Like a doctor should take it seriously.
Has a bit of empathy about her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's absolutely brilliant. And I don't know where I would be without her, my wife, and Dr. Davies. It would be a much painful life. Like, she's absolutely fantastic. So I see her once a week. My wife does most of the driving. Since the spinal cord stimulator was inserted, if it's on, I'm not legally allowed to drive with it. So if I want to drive, I have to, kill it.
Put up with that pain just so you can drive.
So there's like a kill switch in the back of the remote for it where you turn it on, pull it down, press the red kill switch, and it completely stops.
Use of the term kill switch.
Yeah. And then I can legally drive. So it's rare that I drive. My wife does most of it. There's a lot of guilt around my injury because my wife, and again, those who know her, know that she is very leave it, I'll do it type of person.
Yes.
But I can't thank my wife enough for what she does.
Yes, I'm here to do things for you. Make sure you don't have to lift a finger. That's right, yes.
Yeah. I don't know what to do without her. I would be absolutely lost. I'm so
What was
fortunate
your
to have
wife's name?
Jessica.
Jessica, shout out. You sound like a wonderful human being and you're
course.
doing a great job.
She is beyond wonderful. Like, when we got married, she was wonderful. Now she's almost a goddess. I cannot.
She's improved, yeah? Gone from
Well,
okay to average to brilliant?
I wouldn't say improved, because there's nothing to improve upon.
Okay.
What happened was 11 days after we got married, I had my injury. So we missed out on our honeymoon, everything. Yeah.
Wow.
And just seeing, like, I knew that she was someone that was filled with love and compassionate, and, that's why I married her. But after my injury, just seeing that she wouldn't even stop at the ends of the earth for me. I'm
That
so
above
lucky.
and beyond
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
so
thing,
lucky
yeah.
to have her. I thought, when they say till death do you part in sickness and health,
Yeah.
my wife took it quite literally. Like,
As you're supposed to, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been married.
Yeah,
Well, it
but let's be
depends.
honest. There's a
Others
lot of people
aren't
out there
as
that
full on as that.
there's a lot of people out there, and I mean, I've been in previous relationships where if this injury had have happened to me, they would have been gone.
Yep.
You know.
Taking the
Yeah,
opportunity,
see you
yes.
later, yep.
So without her, I wouldn't be here with you guys today.
Well, okay, on that note there, I'm not saying it's the right time to say it, but I know we've had a lot of, let's say suicide comments and things like that, so I think it's right after I mentioned this. There is help available. Lifeline Australia, available 24 hours. The number is 131114. That's 131114. Or you can text 0477 131114. There's also an official website and all that kind of thing too. I'm sure if you just Google Lifeline, it'll come up, and there you go.
Thank you so much for bringing that up, Tony. I
That's-
really appreciate that.
It's not a subject I want to talk about too much because I don't think that suicide is
Yeah.
the right answer for anything.
No,
but
me either.
yeah,
It happened.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
something out there, it happens.
Yeah.
understandable, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but just I don't agree with it.
You don't understand till you're in certain situations.
Yeah.
Touche.
You might not have ever thought of that before, but
A lot of people that reach that point
Something,
are
yeah.
already so deep in their
Yeah.
own minds that just be aware
They've
that
convinced
everyone around
themselves,
you
yes.
cares about you.
yeah.
Well, I think I've got maybe break things up a bit. I've got a song here. I'm not sure if it's the right song to play, but it might be. I don't know. It's by the Isley Brothers. You Make Me Want to Shout. From the debut
Yeah.
album, Shout. So here we go. From 1959. Can't read my own writing. Jeez.
Well, you make me wanna
Yes, and we're right back into it now because we've got maybe machine up there till 12 minutes to 1 p.m. So let's see what we can get into in the next 12
You're
minutes.
precise, Tony.
Down to 11 now, so go for it.
No worries. So,
about 11 now.
So, I suppose the last thing I want to speak to you about, Odin, is that I hear that you're passionate about advocating. Would you like to share any words of wisdom with our listeners? Because I think you have a great message and you're very positive
And you have a very
and open about everything too.
No, I tried to be.
fearless and pronounced voice and manner of speaking. I love it. Go
Oh,
for it.
thank you, Tammy. You and I met recently advocating for Shellharbour Pool. For those who don't know, the open water pool at Shellharbour went to a vote at Shellharbour Council recently. Bec, you wrote a very strong letter that was very well received. I spoke. I met a few others. I met Nick and Tony, and I'm really sorry for the others out there. I unfortunately can't remember you.
I'm not saying you're not memorable, just that lost
And
in
there's a
the...
lot.
Just the name.
There's a
Just the
lot,
name.
yeah.
And there were 6 of us, and we were all in favour. And I know that there were a couple of no's that didn't want it to go ahead, but at the end they voted unanimously for some additional funding to include a ramp for Shellharbour Public Pool. That is to be able to allow almost all disabilities to get access to the free Shellharbour Pool.
Disabilities, aged people,
Yep.
people with young children, that
Anyone
don't
who's
carry in the
fitting.
pool.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Non-able-bodied, in other words, yes.
So the listeners out there, that I believe that they're closing the pool in winter and they're going to work on it, and it should be open for summer 2025. So that's something to look forward to. But words of wisdom for myself to the listener, what got me up and looking forward was trying to find projects that even though there's a lot that I can't do, I could do something from home to help someone else. My wife and I, before my injury, we used to help refugees where we live, like show them around the local area, show them to either the church or the mosque or something like that, show them where the groceries are, whatever we could. We would often make homemade soaps and sell them to raise money for it. Recently, I've been donating a lot to the Share the Meal program.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's an app that you can download. I think it's like $1.20 and you can send food overseas. Like it's
wow.
fantastic. Like there's not a lot that I can do physically, but there are so many ways out there that you, the listener, and myself can help others just from sitting at home. If you are looking to feel good about yourself when you're feeling low and you feel like there's nothing that you can do, open your phone, send $1 to someone.
Almost lyrics to a song.
Pardon?
That almost sounds like lyrics to a song.
Lyrics to a song.
Just open your phone, you can help someone out, yeah.
Absolutely. Just open your phone. You can send $1 to someone overseas and they're going to eat for today. Not just the meal, they're going to eat for today. That's something that I've been passionate about. So as I mentioned, I met you at the pool and we hit it off and that was fantastic. So that's something to look forward to next year. I met during this time a fantastic counsellor with Shellharbour Council, Rob Petrevsky. You know Rob.
Yes, he's a lovely bloke.
He is absolutely fantastic. When I was lost and looking for things to do, Rob helped me as well. So there's local things that he also put me onto. There's the Buri Buri statue down at Lake Illawarra. I go down there and it's the whale statue that's been put in down at near the lake.
Skate park.
No, near the new. Basically, it's right where I mentioned earlier, where I place my jacket and my wallet and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. I go down there, I pick up garbage. I've put some new plants in there. I got the permission of the council before I did it. That gave me a bit of a boost as well, you know. Find something that may take you out of your comfort zone, something that you haven't done before, something that's easy. Start with something easy and go from there. You know, you will be surprised how good you feel from you woke up this morning thinking that you could do nothing and you can very much do something.
Yeah.
Okay?
That sounds awesome.
Especially knowing that what you've done, what you've put into the world is being appreciated by other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, you know, not exactly words of wisdom. I'm just kind of putting people out there to try and donate.
That's a good encouragement to people to get out there and give everything a go because there's always someone in a worse situation than what you're in yourself.
Well, I mean, look at today. As I mentioned earlier, this is my first radio interview. I've never done anything on radio. This is basically my first interview period other than, you know, newspapers. You guys took me out of my comfort zone. I didn't think I was going to do this. I actually thought about it the other week and thought, how am I going to get out of it? But I pushed myself forward because, you know, you made me feel easy and rest assured.
That's kind of what we aim to do here. We're trying to help people
get their story out.
Yeah, just speak for themselves and not feel under pressure or anything like that. Because that's not what this show's about.
Yeah.
This is about getting the information out there.
Yeah.
And it's always best straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So there you go.
So I suppose I would like to say, getting close.
Yeah, sorry.
I know you're all right. I would just like to say thank you so much, Odin. Really have appreciated having you on the show today.
No, thank you guys both for having me. I really
much,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
And we may get you back down the track to talk about some of the other things that you do out in the community as well.
100% anytime.
It's known as a catch-up, so yeah, here we go.
Okay. Well, I look forward to the catch-up.
Possibly in about 6 months or so.
I look forward to it.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks,
I'll
guys.
quickly say goodbye and thank you very much for our listeners out there. Have a great afternoon.